We are coming to you live from the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you can handle the truth. Good evening from Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Frank Allen. Tonight, we welcome back Kevin Annett from Canada, who is winning his 25-year battle against the corrupt government in Canada. He is also running for office, and he has some late-breaking news for us, and I can't wait to hear it. But wait first. Joining Targeted Massachusetts is free. Just go to targetedmassachusetts.org, and in the navigation, go to Contact Information. Please complete the easy registration form. By joining, you receive our newsletter, text updates, and the latest developments in our situation. While you're there, you can donate to Targeted Massachusetts and help us to continue our activism. We are a legal organization of the state of Massachusetts. If you have any questions, you can call me in the U.S. at 1-508-857-8334. Call into the show live and ask a question or join in at 800-313-9443, or you can listen at 605-313-0163. Targeted Massachusetts Northeast Conference airs Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Access code by phone 515-604-9715. Now the access code 708-922. ID Targeted. If you'd like to join us by computer, in your address bar, type freeconferencecall.com/wall/targeted. Our YouTube channel is Targeted Massachusetts. We have a chat that accompanies this show, and it is targetedmass@chatango.com. Today, the Schumann resonance is at 15. It should be at 7.83. We have correlated that the higher the Schumann resonance is, it would appear that the attacks are lower in severity. Still a hypothesis, but we're starting to prove it. Okay. Now I'd like to go right to Kevin Annett. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hi, Frank. How are you?
Very good, sir. I understand you have some great news for us.
Well, it all happened during this election campaign in Canada. There was an election on October 21st. The government was put back in power. There was just a slight change. And I like to say it's like switching the decks chairs around on the Titanic just before they're about to hit the iceberg. But, there's the Liberal government of Trudeau was back in power. But what happened during the course of the campaign was quite amazing. We ran, myself and 5 other people ran under the banner of the Republic of Kanata, because 5 years ago, a bunch of patriots got together in Winnipeg, which is central Canada, and formed a basis for a constitution, a Republican Constitution. Now, this was tried before in Canada. We had our 1776, but it got crushed. It was in 1837. And, matter of fact, my great-great-great-grandfather, Philip Annett, took part in it. And there's all the old family folklore of how he took part, and he had to go into hiding to hide out from the Tory militia who were hunting them down. And it was kind of in the family folklore for a long time. And now, interestingly enough, I'm kind of carrying it on. Because what happened was we found that we did our own straw poll on the ground. Up to 60% of Canadians want a republic. They don't want ties with the British monarchy anymore. And so we acted on that, and we didn't say, okay, we're going to run in this election to get elected, because we don't believe in the crown system. It's a corrupt, colonial kind of system that operates in Canada. An example of that is,
we already have two callers. We have Melissa from LJ, Georgia, and we have Anson from Andover, Mass.
Okay.
You guys want to join in?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And I just want to finish the point I was making.
Okay.
In Canada, about three-quarters of the laws are never even debated in Parliament. They're passed by a small little clique called the Privy Council. That's like the Queen's representatives in Canada. So it's a complete top-down colonial system. So we said, look, what people have got to do in their own neighborhoods is do what you need to do to have self-governance. We started forming community assemblies. People debate laws. We say, look, we're pulling out of the crown system completely. And so it's amazing the response we got on the ground. People are actually running with that. So it's really exciting what we see developing. It's like, what happened down south 200 years ago. So.
Wow, that's fantastic to hear. Your 25-year battle is coming into a huge success. And I think you are going to avenge the deaths of many in the long run. And I think you should get the equivalent Medal of Honor from Canada for your efforts.
Well, maybe when we have a Republican system of government, we'll be able to recognize not just me, but a lot of the people who've died in the struggle. I realized that we had to do this. When your country is guilty of war crimes and genocide, you have an obligation not to be part of it anymore. And, that's certainly the case in Canada. Folks, just go to murderbydecree.com. You'll see all the work I've done over 25 years to expose, genocide and corruption across Canada.
Yes, so what was that called?
Hi.
Hi, this is Melissa.
I'm sorry. I just asked so I could look it up. I apologize.
Oh, it's murderbydecree.com.
Murder by Decree? Okay, thank you.
Bydecree.com. That shows all our work over the last whole number of years. But I'm sorry, you probably had a question or something to say.
Oh, no, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to make sure I got it so I was able to look it up. I'm not even allowed to have emails. I know they can see through my eyes. So any email that I have, the next day I can't get into it. My password is cat. No, I'm not. I wear welding glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And when I wear welding glasses, then I hear that I get voice goal. And so they get really angry when I wear the welding glasses, But, they see through my eyes, and I'm not allowed to have email addresses. So it's kind of inconvenient. The only way I can, speak, literally is, on a phone or here, or...
You think your eyes have been microchipped? Is that what you're saying, or...?
Yes. I'm not sure if it's voice of God weaponry from the military.
Right. Yeah.
Because 8 years ago, I was in California, and I thought, was it maybe a friend, not sure, an ex-Marine.
Right.
I know that they use voice of God technology on terrorists. And you know how sometimes maybe military comes back and uses weapons because they've lost their minds? I think maybe that might be part of what's going on, too.
Okay.
Well, I should tell you that I
Melissa?
do a Sunday blog show, Here We Stand, and I've had a woman on there.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not sure. I'm not saying all military. You know what I mean? Some people just come back and lose their minds. I'm not sure if
Melissa?
it's voice of God. Yes.
Or if it's Melissa.
Do you have a specific question?
Okay.
I
I can empathize with what you're going through. I just wanted to say hi to everyone. My name is from England.
Hello?
Okay, let's go to Anson from Andover, Mass. Just a quick question because we really want to hear what Kevin has to say.
Oh dear, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to keep going? I'm sorry. I wasn't sure what the order was.
Well, if you're familiar with Kevin Annett and you'd like to ask a question about what he's doing in his movement, feel free. But it's not really an open forum tonight because we are actually listening to Kevin's presentation. But go ahead, ask your question.
Okay. Well, maybe I can just send you an email, Frank.
Okay.
Because I was calling, I had questions. I learned that I was a targeted individual, and I have mind control hardware in my body, and I was looking for advice and suggestions on how to get it removed.
Actually, I don't mind talking
ahead,
about that because if you don't mind, Frank, I'll just answer that for a minute.
Sure.
I've worked, I mentioned a bit earlier, I do a blog radio show on Sundays, and I've had on there often a woman, Dr. Catherine Horton, she's a physicist from Switzerland, who's one of the world's authorities on microchip implants and directed energy weapons, targeted individuals, the whole bit. You might check out her website. It's stop007.org. So that's stop and then 007.org. And she explains the technology of how to detect microchips, how to remove them, use of aluminum foil and that to block directed energy weapons. It's really important that people learn about this because it's like when you're talking about genocide of young kids or child trafficking or satanic rituals. People don't want to believe this stuff, but it's going on as we speak. So I'd be happy to send you more stuff. If you want to write to me, it's thecommonland@gmail.com.
Thecommonland@gmail.com.
That's right, yep.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I didn't mean to interrupt. I wasn't sure really what the order was.
It's not interruption.
Right in.
It's all connected. That's okay. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Anson.
Okay.
Okay, Papa from Tennessee. Yeah. How you doing, Papa?
Oh, I've had better lives, I think. It's been.
Did you have a question for Kevin?
Who Kevin? Can I get the last name again? I'm pretty sure I think I know who you said, but go ahead.
His name is Kevin Annett. He's from Canada, and he's behind a grassroots movement to actually dump the government and start over.
I'm all for that. Seeing as how the one that we have is not doing what our forefathers thought long and hard about how to put it on paper and what to say, and it's me, I'm a Constitution whore. I got I've been posting up on YouTube soldiers of the Constitution. I'm getting better at it. I took some videos down because I had a lot of F words in there, but I got a little upset the other night. I went out to just do some video and post it. I'm not real friendly with it. I started out way back in the day with DOS and Windows 3.1 and 95, and I kind of fell behind the social media curve a little bit, even trying to keep up with my kids. But I just watched the neighborhood flush itself the other night, literally right in front of me, one house after another. Everybody ran out, got in vehicles, and took off, and I could not believe who I thought were my friends. We relocated here to Tennessee from San Diego thinking this would be different, and we smacked right into Clarksville, Tennessee. The Fort Campbell's down the road, and I didn't realize how involved the military is with this crap. I mean, I moved from a pretty big military town to, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a fishbowl now, but I did send you an email the other day, Frank, I think if you remember, for your eyes on me. And did you get that, by the way?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay. I sent you a couple pictures of me. And,
that's right.
That's
yeah,
just,
I got that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. I don't want to go too long tonight. I want to hear what Kevin has to say, but I wanted to make sure you got that because they've really cranked up the bullshit. I mean, it's really, really bad. I went to do a lighting ritual tonight for my wife's father. I say my father because he was my father too. He passed away, and Dias de los Muertos and all of that. So we like to commune, but I was just asking for some spiritual guidance, protection. And man, they hit me with so many helicopters. I videoed it. I put it up on YouTube. You guys can take a look if you want to find it. Something about harassing a witch. If you want to see it, like I said, my channel, I'm moving around. But Kevin, I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. I am familiar with.
He's got a lot to say. Thank you very much, Papa.
I'm going to sit back. Frank. I'm glad you got that email. Just hang on to that. I'm holding on with everything I got. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Papa. He's a real nice guy. He's a real good guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I meet a lot of good people on the road. I've been on the road a lot. Yeah, campaigning and working with people.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your campaign.
Well, we're not running. We don't believe in representatives because we don't believe people can represent each other. We believe in that people have to govern themselves. So we're setting up the basis for a Congress in Canada, and we elect delegates to the Congress, but they can be recalled at any time. And you see, the parliamentary system is so corrupt in Canada. It's I could go on for 2 hours describing it to you, but it's not operating now. Things are breaking down all over, and people realize they have to create something themselves. And so we're doing that. We're going around forming common law assemblies where people can formulate their own laws for their neighborhoods, elect their own common law peace officers, common law. You see, we don't even have county sheriffs like you have in America. We have this thing called the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and they're a military body. They're self-governing. They've got their own courts. They openly kill people all the time, deal guns, deal drugs. They were involved in making a lot of people go missing. Child trafficking is a huge problem across the country. They're deeply involved in it. And there's no accountable police force, right? The police don't even get to lay charges. It's the Attorney General, which is the party in power. They get to direct the police all the time, right? So it's a very corrupt system, and everything from taxation to the way the courts operate or actually don't operate. We need a whole new deal, and so we're trying to create that from the grassroots. And I found the same thing in America. People are even further ahead, of course, because you've got a tradition of being citizens of a republic, and that's an idea we're discovering in Canada, but you guys are ahead of the curve on that. And I learn a lot when I'm down in the States. I'm half American.
Okay.
My dad's from New Jersey.
Kevin, we have to go to commercial.
So, yep, cool.
Thank you very much for listening, folks. We'll be right back in 3 minutes.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
We are coming to you live once again from the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you can handle the truth. Good evening from Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Frank Allen. Tonight, we welcome back Kevin Annett. Joining Targeted Massachusetts is free. Just go to targetedmassachusetts.org. And in the navigation, you will see contact information, complete the registration form, and you are a member. I'm going to cut to the quick here because I want to get back to Kevin. You can call into the show live and ask a question at 800-313-9443 or listen at 605-313-0163. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, you want me to talk more about the Republic or what?
Yes. Get into the government structure a little bit and, what you're actually changing. You're actually ousting pretty much the current system and replacing it with something more like what the United States Constitution says it should be. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, give you a perfect example. In Canada, the head of state is the Governor General. That's somebody appointed by the Queen over in London. And that head Governor General can remove the government at any point. He has the power to just abolish the government. So it's this old colonial system, the way it was before your revolution, right? That top-down kind of rule by orders rather than debate and democracy. So we got to get rid of that whole thing. And the problem is that every member of Parliament, every politician, every judge, every cop takes an oath of allegiance to Queen Elizabeth and her descendants. That's it. Just to her, nobody else. So it means they're accountable to a foreign monarch. Also a foreign monarch who's being criminally convicted of being involved in genocide and the actual disappearance of Aboriginal children. That's something we proved in the common law court case we did in Brussels in 2013. And so, there's no way that people are obligated to obey that kind of system. So we're going around and we're talking to the cops, we're talking to everybody, we're issuing them stand-down orders and saying, look, disavow your oath of allegiance, take the oath of allegiance to the people and to a constitution under a republic. And, we find incredible support for this now. They did an opinion poll 4 years ago, and 58% of Canadians want that. They want a republic. So you don't hear this in the mainstream corporate press, of course. I guess Americans have a vision of Canadians as being all these nice people, who live in a really nice country, but that's complete BS when you see on the ground what happens,
And as a matter of fact, after a broadcast that you're on, I have people emailing me, asking me for your information, and they want to move there. So you're igniting a group of people that actually wants to stream into Canada to live. So, but I think they want to live under your government, not the current government.
Well, it's funny you say that because we get inquiries all the time from people in America wanting to join the Republic of Kanata, we call it. Kanata. That's where the word Canada came from. It's a Huron Indian word meaning our village. But it means where people sit around the council fire and, as equal people, come to decisions together. And that was a model that Tom Jefferson used when they were writing up the American Constitution, saying, look, it's not about democracy, isn't about one guy telling others what to do or signing away your authority to somebody. It's about people governing themselves. And that's the simple idea we're trying to hold up again. And, we get incredible support from all over the place. It's really outstripping our resources right now, but it's an idea whose time has come, so it's really catching on all over. And, so it's encouraging.
Yeah, it sounds very encouraging. What are your numbers, do you think now? It sounds like you have really captured Canada. You've captured their attention.
We've got, 5 years ago, we had a founding convention, and there were 221 delegates from all over the country. That original core of 200 is easily increased tenfold, and beyond that, there's a whole periphery of other people. It's definitely in the thousands people active in this movement. It's why the government has to... We found this in this campaign on exposing the genocide. We would make an initiative, and a month later the government would respond, but they would make it look like it's not because of what we're doing. So they'd start talking about missing children, mass graves of children, the stuff that we all proved, right? They admit eventually, Trudeau in June, Prime Minister Trudeau in last June admitted that it was genocide, that tens of thousands of children died. Well, hello, that means they should be prosecuted now. And it means citizens in Canada should not pay taxes to a genocidal regime, should not vote. That's another reason we need a republic. We got to wash our hands clean of this crime. And so, that's up to all of us to do that. But it's all the crows are coming home to roost in a way, which happens, when you got official crime going on for generations.
Well, it sounds like you have really made some progress, and it's great to hear that one man can ignite a fire that burns so brightly. It's amazing, and it's a shining example for the rest of the world, actually. And
well, I really encourage people to write to us. You can actually write to the headquarters of the Republic. It's Republic of Kanata. That's Kanata. Republic of Kanata @gmail.com. And like I say, go to murderbydecree.com. You'll see updates in there about our campaign under ITCCS updates. And, we're working with a lot of different people now. We're working with people who are... I give you an example. I got a call from a group of Catholic priests the other day in Ireland. And they said, well, it's time we split off from Rome because of all the corruption there. We want to have our own Irish-based church. And I said, this sounds like the Reformation 500 years ago. People are saying, you can have your faith, but it doesn't mean you have to be part of a criminal syndicate while doing it, right? And so I think that's really encouraging. It shows you that people are taking back their own power, their own minds.
Right. Can you mention for me and for our listeners your show again, because I am going to put it in with my ads when I first start the show, things that I'm pushing, and I'd like to
That'd
have
be great,
that.
Frank. Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be great,
That's
because
what I'll
on
do.
our website, we've got all the shows archived, and if you go back 5 years, you can hear a lot of great interviews with activists on the ground, people building the republic. All of these things we're talking about, it's all on there. So the website is bbsradio.com, and then / Here We Stand. So that's one word, Here We Stand. So bbsradio.com / Here We Stand. It's every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on that bbsradio.com / Here We Stand program.
Can people call in?
We can arrange that. We have guests. We can do call-ins. So yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's fantastic. I'm going to get that information all together, and every Sunday, along with our Sunday newsletter, your show will be part of our Sunday newsletter.
That'd be awesome. Thank you, Frank.
Yes, and it looks like we've run past the station ID, so you can just keep on going if you like.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure which avenue you'd like to take, but whichever one
Well, I
it
don't know.
is.
Maybe folks in Boston might be interested in learning about this big movement that started up in the Catholic Church. It's a big reform movement. It's wanting to break away from Rome. They want to have national churches that have authority, because they've realized that a lot of policies and practices coming out of Rome they don't agree with. The whole thing of covering up child abuse and child trafficking, which is part of the policy coming out of the Vatican. I've had a lot of priests call me up and say, there's no way I'm going along with this anymore, and we've got to govern ourselves. So I've even met with some bishops. When I was in Ireland, there was a bishop there who said, well, I can't really go public with this, but we don't like at all what's happened, and we want to find a way to just break off and be our own church. And they've been looking at the stuff I've been doing, because that's what, for 25 years, what we've been championing about the way honest people in the churches have to come forward and say, we don't want to be part of these policies anymore that protect child rapists. And that's a policy in not only the Catholic Church, but all the major churches. You're supposed to cover it up, or you get in trouble, like I did. I got thrown out of the United Church for talking about these crimes, right? So we got to find a way to help the honest people. Yeah.
How does the now, is this totally separate from the Archdiocese, right?
Yeah, it's alongside it. It's like you got the diocese system, and then you got the orders like the Dominicans and people like that, and they're under their own head, who's accountable only to the Pope. But the point is that they're all covered by this policy called Crimen Solicitatis. It's been in the Catholic Church since 1929. I've got a copy of it. If you go to murderbydecree.com, go to Appendix 4, you'll see the whole policy. It was leaked from the Vatican Library to the London Observer in 2004. And it says that any Catholic who finds out about a child being harmed is to be silenced. They're not to tell the police, and everything is covered up. So, when you have court cases and priests and bishops are accused of covering it up, they're just following the policy coming out of Rome. So really, the Pope needs to be put on trial for this stuff, but politically he's protected by all these governments, including America. And so it's got to be the people who take back the church and say, look, we don't want these criminal policies anymore. And I was working, I work with actually people all over America. There's a guy out of Milwaukee who's trying to do that, but he keeps, trying to bring out the truth about all this, but he keeps running up against the Archbishop all the time, who's worried about his own position in the church, right? So it's kind of like when you build a republic, you need an alternative system outside the existing system that people can rally to. So I say just worship in your own congregation. Stop paying money to Rome. Keep the money and the power in the community, right?
That's great. That's fantastic. That's the best thing I've heard in a long, long time.
Yep.
All the money has been going to Rome. I mean, from Boston to Rome, and it's being, turned into gold or whatever they do with it over there.
Well, they invest in the arms industry, big pharma. A lot of things that a lot of people in the pews would not agree with. The Vatican Bank is heavily invested in all these criminal operations. So, a good reason not to. Well, find a way to keep the money in your own hands, wherever you are, in whatever congregation you're in.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. The church, the Catholic Church, is going to be free. It's going to be a free running church. I think the people will feel a lot more comfortable. It sounds great.
Yeah, well, one of the things we found when I was working in Europe was there's been lots of attempts to do this, but, politically, governments back the Vatican. There's a lot of money. There's even a thing in America called a financial concordat. And what that does is it channels taxpayers' money right into the Vatican Bank, and we're not even aware of it because it's a secret agreement between the State Department and the Vatican. But you should ask your congressman or woman or senator about this financial concordat with the Vatican Bank, because that's totally unconstitutional. There's not supposed to be that kind of mixing of church and state under the U.S. Constitution, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I'll definitely bring that up.
Good. So, yeah, that's a lot of good change on the horizon, and that's why it's now a time for people to step forward and not look to somebody else to do it. But, we know what needs to be done. It's just common sense, like Thomas Paine said in the American Revolution, right?
Right. Now, what is going to happen in Canada concerning the prosecutorial people that are going to actually grab these criminals and prosecute them? Who is going to actually oversee this process?
Well, we need a whole new constitutional framework for this. We need a republic with its own High Court of Justice. But we need local common law courts as well that people can convene. And, you've got a constitutional right to have a common law jury trial in America. That's your constitutional right. No judge can take that away from you. But in Canada, the judges are all appointed. It's, the Chief Justice of the Canadian Supreme Court sits on the Privy Council. It's like the inside body. They don't separate the judiciary from the executive or the legislative at all like you have in America. It's all one inside clique. And so there's no way to have any accountability anywhere. So we need that. We need to take back the law into the hands of the community by having jury-run common law courts. And we're trying to set that up across Canada. It's tough sledding, because you're going up against a whole system, but we have a lot of support too. So it's a matter of keep pushing, right?
Yeah. Now, once your government is established, we'll say in a couple of years or a year, however long it takes you to put this together, hopefully sooner than later. But how do you plan to keep corruption out of your government? Because there are going to be people that will subjugate your government to corruption.
Well, it's kind of like I remember a quote from John Adams. He said, without virtue, the people cannot govern themselves. So we have to encourage that virtue of taking responsibility and doing the right thing. It was interesting, before the American Revolution, there was a thing that happened in the States called the Great Awakening. It was a spiritual revival movement all during the 1730s and 40s. And it was people having that evangelical spirit that we had to become better before Christ could return. We had to be true and pure people. We had to be, not part of old empires and corrupt systems. And we need that kind of inner spiritual revival before we can have the political change. Because if you don't have that awakening of people to their own virtue and their own power first, it doesn't matter what system you bring in. It'll be corrupt again. It'll be, same. The new boss is the same as the old boss, right? So you need that inner awakening, and people want to do that. You might notice this whenever you're walking down the street and suddenly there's an accident. You got 10 or 20 people running over to help, right? People are always looking to help each other and to do the right thing, but we don't get a lot of opportunities. But we need to harness that latent goodwill and goodness in a lot of us and say now is the time to make that work as a political force in the country too, not just a personal one in our own families. We got to extend that to the whole society and make virtue. We got to enthrone virtue and rightness for once in government, and that's kind of what you need. The two. You need that inner transformation and the outer transformation working side by side.
Okay, so you intend to still keep a separation of church and state in your new republic?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's important, okay. Very important. And, on many levels, it's just common sense on every level that the law and governance has to be in the hands of the people. So, for example, we try to, and I've learned about it, the way to devolve power back into the community. I actually learned in Pennsylvania a few years ago, where communities were trying to stop fracking of their groundwater. And the Pennsylvania state government allowed this company to come in and dump all this garbage in their groundwater. So the folks in it's near Indiana, Pennsylvania. It's I think it's Jones County. They all 700 of them got together and said, no, we're bringing in what's called a home rule charter, and the Pennsylvania Constitution allows communities to take back power. And so they said, we overrule the state court and the government and say, no, you're not allowed to bring in this fracking chemicals and dump it in our water system because our lives are at stake. And this little town, they got reported in the Rolling Stone magazine. They've been all over the media. They're just saying, no, we local people can govern ourselves. And that's a really important model. That's what we try to encourage all across Canada, or Kanata, and all across America. The people need to govern themselves directly in their own communities. So that's kind of our general model.
I hope this catches on in the U.S. because we really need change. You know it, and I know it, and the people know it. This government is too big. There are too many people. I mean, there are thousands of people that don't need to be there. I don't know if you found that in Canada, but there are so many departments that just don't need to be there.
It's true. And Americans have a strong sense of this, that they want it as least government as possible. And I think it was Henry Thoreau who said that, the government that governs the least is the best. And that's because the people can govern themselves. It's just that if you're taught from young age that you can hand over responsibility to somebody else, you're not used to governing. You're not used to making the decisions. Like in ancient Athens, the way they governed is they got the voters together, and they had to draw lots. And the person who drew the lot had to be the judge that week, or they had to run the local town council. Everyone was expected to take responsibility for government, right? And we all need to do that. And I love that system because it's difference between representative and direct democracy. Direct democracy is when we rule ourselves. We make the decisions. We can nullify decisions of the government if it goes, and especially these days with this kind of creeping police state everywhere. This is all the more important to do now, right?
Yes, and one thing we've discovered in the U.S. recently, they are actually starting a pre-crime unit.
Yeah.
Using various programs that, we can discuss at a later date. But they actually would have the power to put somebody in jail if they have all the markers that say they are a murderer.
Yeah, but that goes against everything going back 1,000 years in common law.
Yeah.
You cannot be prosecuted for your thoughts. As a matter of fact, under the Constitution, they define treason as two things. Raising up arms against the U.S. government and helping those who do. But those are acts. Treason is not an idea. It isn't even a statement. Even if I got on the air and said, I think we should, overthrow the government, that's not an indictable offense. That's just you expressing your opinion. A man cannot be tried for his thoughts. That goes back to Magna Carta. And there has to be an intent to commit a crime and an act. And if you don't have both, it's not a crime. And anything that says it does is operating outside the rule of law, right? And we can ignore it. That's the point. I remember Oliver Wendell Holmes in the U.S. Supreme Court in the 1920s said a statute, which is from the government, that's a rule they bring in, a statute has no binding authority without people's consent. So they can bring in any law they want. If you don't consent to it, it has no authority over you. As long as you're not harming somebody, you're free. And that's what we got to revive again in the people, that awareness of what liberty really is and the law.
Yeah, we've let too much slide in this country. I keep saying everyone, we should have a 2-week period or longer and have a certain number of people take the day off from work and protest, because what's happening, everybody has become too conveniently placed in their automobile every morning, going to work, coming back home, watching TV, and going to bed. And no one is doing anything about what is happening in the U.S., so they just keep doing more.
Yep. Well, that's kind of the problem with when you have people thinking that I am free, I'm just living for myself, without also thinking, well, what's my responsibility to the people around me? We have to take our responsibility back, because if it's everyone for themselves, that's what dictators want. They want everyone so consumed with their own life that they don't look at who's governing. They don't look at the few who are really running things, right? And it's about taking responsibility back, taking the government back in our own hands, the courts, the churches, everything that's being now running by a few against our best interests, right?
Exactly. You've brought up a good point. Everyone is in it for themselves here, and it's the almighty dollar, and unless you're close friends, it doesn't happen. No one looks out for anybody, unless if somebody runs out of gas and they need a quick push off the road. But when it comes right down to brass tacks, I don't think the neighbor would fight for you here. I don't think they would unite together against a common enemy. I don't think they would do anything at this point in time to change anything. Everybody is riding the status quo that changes in a matter of days. And pre-crime just goes against the Constitution. It goes against everything. And this has been published in small, I won't say small, but they're not mainstream news. Things like Activist Post, they've brought it up. A UK paper brought it up. I mean, but the mainstream news is not bringing it up.
Well, it means in our communities we're going to stop this. And the good thing about America is you've got elected county sheriffs. So you can, when we hold common law training workshops, we often invite in the sheriffs, the local police, and say, look, you guys have got to learn about what the law really is. Your job is to defend liberty and the people, not to enforce statutes for the government, right? Because a statute can bring in a police state tomorrow if they want. Your job is to defend the Constitution and the people, and we've got to teach them about that, right? Because they're not taught that anywhere.
Okay, I think we're going to commercial now. I think I hear it faintly in the background.
Yep.
Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Good evening, Massachusetts. In case you've just tuned in, my name is Frank Allen. Tonight, we welcome back Kevin Annett. We don't have too much time left, so with that in mind, I'm going to go right to Kevin right now. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thanks, Frank. Before I go off, I should remind folks how to get a hold of us. I've written 16 books that people should look at that kind of look at this whole background of what we've been talking about. You go to Amazon.com and put in the name Kevin Annett, Annett. You'll see all my books, especially there's a common law training manual, whistleblower manual. There's a lot of good, helpful stuff in there. Also, you should listen to our show every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, bbsradio.com/herewestand. And also, you can write to me, Republic of Kanata, Kanata, Republic of Kanata @gmail.com, and see our website, murderbydecree.com.
Okay, and those of you who would like a recording of this, in case you've missed anything, you can go to YouTube and go to Targeted Massachusetts, and you will see this episode. It'll be the first episode that you see in probably 2 hours or less. But it's been great having you on the show. And
thanks, Frank.
Mention one more time your show, please, so that some people can hear it.
Yep. It's every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time at bbsradio.com/herewestand. And I really want to urge people to tune in and also to take power and action in your own community, because it's up to each one of us listening. It's not going to be done for you. We have to take hope in the fact that people are waking up all over to this tyranny, and it's up to we, the people, to make it happen, the alternative.
And we can see with you that all it takes is one strong man and his will to make things right. And
yeah, that's true. That's been borne out. And if one person can achieve this, imagine what 100 of us together can do. I mean, we can move mountains, folks. So, I think that's one of the reasons, Frank, I like to talk about my story over 25 years, because it shows you the power of being persistent and staying on track all the time. It's like you say, it's about will, and everything comes out of that kind of strength.
Yeah, and Kevin, if you have more that you'd like to add to this, you can come back tomorrow night if you like.
Tomorrow night, I'm kind of on the move. I got to get to a place to give some talks, but maybe the coming week, I'll probably have more news about other issues we didn't touch on tonight, but maybe we can do that in a week or so, Frank.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you, brother. Thanks to everyone.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I think I'm going to move to Canada, too.
Wait for the Republic.
Wait for the Republic. Okay, I'd like to say good night from Boston, Massachusetts. And thank you, Kevin. My name is Frank Allen.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.